The first ever downgrade of America's debt coming on President Obama's watch. Just hours before the downgrade on Friday, Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner agreed to stay on board at the president's request as the administration seeks some continuity for its economic policies. So how will all of this affect President Obama's chances for re-election? Let's ask Democratic pollster Mark Mellman. He is CEO of the Mellman Group. Republican Chip Saltzman was the campaign manager for Huckabee for president. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Mark,
taking
a look at the American attitude right now, who's getting the blame for this mess?
Well, the truth is nobody looks very good in this mess, but I think the American public comes out of this with three images of Republicans. First, divided. Speaker Boehner couldn't even get his bill through his own caucus. Second, they look extreme. And third, they look uncompromising. And those are images which stick with the American people, and it's why, as bad off as Democrats are, Republicans are even less well-liked by the American people today.
Well, Chip, it's a time when a lot of Republicans are saying it's a good thing we didn't compromise on some of these issues.
Yeah, there's no question. And Mark, recheck your facts. Speaker Boehner did get his bill to the House caucus, and
only
and
after he changed it, as you recall.
Cut cap and balance. It was cut cap and balance, and the Democrats wouldn't go along, and that's why we had a downgrade, because the Democrats wouldn't go with significant cuts that would make the American economy stable. But look, this is about the re-election of President Obama, and I'm sure Barack Obama is going to want to talk about the Congress. He's going to want to talk about George Bush. But at the end of the day, the re-election of the president is about the president, who has done nothing in the first 2.5 years. Look, the AAA rating of this country lasted 100 years. It lasted through the Great Depression, but it couldn't survive 2.5 years of Barack Obama. I mean, this is his economy.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
It's his problem, and it's going to be a problem.
Look, you can fight the history battles here as long as the reality is simply this. You had Republicans standing up, and Republican members of Congress standing up and saying, it doesn't matter if we default on our debt. It doesn't matter if we stop paying our bills. That's one of the reasons we got downgraded, because of the political problems here. And the political problems are very clear. President Obama said, you know what, I'm willing to make big cuts, and he did. I'm even willing to talk about these entitlements. You just got to be willing to compromise with us. The Republicans not only said no compromise when they sat down with the president in the super committee, Democrats are saying, Senator Reid said, look, I'll put someone on this committee who wants to talk about entitlement reform. But what did the Republicans say? If you even would consider making oil companies pay their fair share, ending subsidies to oil companies, then you can't be on this committee. You can't look at the future of this country if you're willing to make oil companies stop getting government subsidies.
Well, of the facts
that's the
of
kind of uncompromising approach that really helps to get us downgraded, hurts our economy, hurts our political system, hurts our reputation in the world.
All of the facts, Mark, are, history, and folks will remember them when they go into the voting booth. The question is which party or, which branch of government gets the blame. Chip, it seems to me that, 15 months from now, when folks pull the curtain or whatever they're doing in their particular voting booth, they're going to be saying, President Obama owns this economy, and it hasn't been looking so good.
John, I don't think there's any question of that. The bottom line, the facts are unemployment is up, growth is down, people are making less money than were, the stock market's getting obliterated, that we got downgraded in our debt, and Barack Obama likes to do one thing: talk about it. At the end of the day, he didn't have a plan for this debt ceiling. He didn't have a plan. He'll have meetings. He'll interrupt primetime TV to give a 5-minute speech about it, but he's never had a plan. And the last time I talked or thought about it, leadership is leading the country, not following. And right now, Barack Obama is not in the game, and I think that's what's going to cost him his re-election.
He did submit that budget, Mark, that got 0 votes in the U.S. Senate.
Well, look, the president's had all kind of plans out here. The real issue, if you want to talk about the election, is going to be analytical instead of just making speeches. The reality here is the people are going to sit in this election in November and look to the future and say, can they see the economy getting better? And if they can see the economy getting better down the road, then the reality is the president's going to be in very good shape. If they look down the road and say, you know what, I don't see things getting better in the near future, it's going to be a tough battle, and it's going to be a battle between the president on the one hand, whose skills and talent are enormous, that his team is extraordinarily talented, be a battle between that president and between Republican candidates who themselves have looked extreme to this country and looked uncompromising. Those are not traits that people want to elevate. Those are not things that people want to establish in the presidency of the United States.
We'll see what happens in 15 months. Mark Mellman on the Democratic side, Chip Saltzman on the Republican side. Thank you.